More on the Jets right now and the Giants. We're excited to be joined by SNY insider for both teams in this town, Connor Hughes. Connor, always appreciate your time. Thanks for popping on with us.
I appreciate you for having me, man.
So let's start with the Giants because I know you've been covering them the last couple of days, and they're about to have a huge practice today. I saw 130 to 4 full pads. How would you assess where they're in year one with Harbaugh so far?
It's coming along. I think, honestly, Jake, the biggest thing right now is that offense doesn't look super cohesive, which is understandable. And I think some of that makes some sense when you start to think about it because Jackson Dart is a unique quarterback. He's not your prototypical drop back passer. At least that's not what he's been throughout his career. What makes Jackson special is a lot of that off script stuff that he does. And what Brian Dable did last year, and part of this was out of self-preservation for himself, was construct an offense that Jackson Dart would be able to step into and have success with right away. So it was a lot of RPOs, a lot of read options, a lot of getting the quarterback out and moving, and very similar, I think, to what he did at Ole Miss, similar to those high school, college concepts. Now, Matt Nagy's come in here, and he is not running college concepts. He's not running what Brian Dable did a year ago. Matt Nagy is in here, and he's running the Andy Reid system, and he's trying to teach that Andy Reid system to Jackson Dart. And so Dart is under center a lot more than he's ever been in his football playing career. He's doing 3- and 5-step drops for the first time extensively in his football career. And I think doing those things that he's not necessarily comfortable with, it looks like when he's on the field that he's still at this point uncomfortable. So there are moments and throws and times where you're like, oh, there it is, but it's just not consistent. And I think that offensive inconsistencies that we've seen the last 3 weeks or so is one of the reasons why you kind of look at this camp like, but at the same time, it's a learning curve, which you knew you were going to have an experience.
In terms of the Giants, it feels like, of course, and rightfully so, the focus has been on Dart, the offense, Harbaugh. How about the defense, though, Connor? What have you seen from this defensive group? No Dexter Lawrence, but they, of course, bring in Edmonds in free agency. They draft Arvell Reese with their first-round pick. What do you reasonably expect from the Giants' defense this year?
You want him to be better, and you can loop in Denard Wilson as the new defensive coordinator, someone who many people around the league believe has head coaching potential, that he's a guy that is on the fast track to getting there. It's so funny because I've been in enough training camps before where you see an offense struggle because the defense is dominating. And the Jets are an example of that. I mean, there were several years there early in my career and even sometimes there with Robert Saleh where the defense was just so ahead of the offense that it was one of those things where the secondary was just press man and just dominating at the line. And then the pass rush was getting home. And the offense had no chance to do anything because the offensive line was breaking down, guys weren't open, all that stuff. I think the defense has had moments, whether it was Abdul Carter to begin training camp in West Virginia, just having a couple dominant practices. And Arvell Reese, you mentioned him. He looks very much like a difference-making player at linebacker. And Edmonds has been good. And Tay Banks, the overlooked former first-round pick, kind of cast aside, has really had a resurgence this year under Wilson in this scheme. And other guys obviously stepped up as well. We all know what Brian Burns can do. But I think I don't get the vibe at camp that this is an example of a defense that is just dominating the offense as much as it is an offense that is just struggling. And I think when I analyze the Giants defense as a whole, just looking at them separate from what the offense is doing, my biggest concerns with them right now still remain at cornerback in spite of Tay Banks having a really good summer. And then at that interior of the defensive line where they're going to have to stop some runs. The Giants were putrid a season ago stopping the run. They believe Reeder and Harris, who did not play in the preseason opener against the Vikings, should make things better. But I still think that even on their best days, they're probably still going to be a below average run stuffing team.
Two quick Giant receiver related questions for you as we're talking with Connor Hughes of SNY here on Carlin. Jake Asman sitting in for Chris. Does OBJ make the team, and will Malik Neighbors definitely be out there week 1 against the Cowboys?
If the Giants keep 7 receivers, I think there's a pretty good chance that Odell can make it. Now, he's had a very, very quiet summer. I mean, even yesterday, like I know I saw Art mention this, and some fans got like real up in arms that Odell worked a ton with Jackson Dart, and he did work more with Jackson Dart, but it was still as the second-team receiver. There was a day in West Virginia where Odell legitimately got first-team reps. Like, he was out there as one of the top 3 receivers in practice. It was him, Darnell Mooney, and Calvin Austin. Those were the Giants' starting 3 receivers for a whole practice. That wasn't the case yesterday. Odell was still working with the twos. The Giants just ran so many pass plays. I think in 11-on-11 drills, Jackson Dart attempted 23 throws, which was a lot. So when they would bring in that second grouping of receivers with Dart, Odell trotted on out there. But still, He only caught one pass in 11 on 11 drills, and it was from Jameis Winston. In camp, I think Dan Duggan had these numbers. It's 4 total receptions throughout all of the practices from Jackson Dart in 11 on 11 period. So he's getting open. You see it. You watch the film on the all 22 of the Vikings, and it does look like he's getting open. He's just not getting thrown the ball. So, I mean, look, probably because he's not the number one read on plays, but it's something to watch. I mean, I think his odds increase if they keep 7. If they only keep 6, considering Odell does not do anything other than play receiver, he's not a returner, doesn't play gunner, I think the odds become a little bit lower. And then as for Malik Neighbors, Jake, everything the Giants have done since the very first day has indicated that they are doing everything they can to make sure he is on the field for week 1 against the Cowboys. That was still the case yesterday when he took part in 7 on 7, 11 on 11 drills, albeit in a red non-contact jersey. Now, the Giants are in full pads today. It was a really hard workout for Malik yesterday. I'm curious if he's back out there today or if they're going to dial it back. We'll see. But I think what it's trending towards based off of watching him run, I don't know if he's going to be ready for a 60 to 70 play workload in that opener against the Cowboys, but I could see them having a package of plays 15 to 20 snaps for him. I think that at a minimum is what the Giants are trying to get to.
Moving to the Jets, good job by you. You were the first to report that the Breece Hall...
I appreciate you, man. Thank you. Yeah.
I got to give credit where it's due. You were the first to report that Breece Hall's groin strain is nothing serious. Glenn confirmed that report earlier today when he spoke. Are you fully confident that the Jets are going to get, a healthy Breece Hall week 1 against Robert Saleh and the Titans?
I'm very confident he's going to be out there. So what I was told, and going to confirm this, it's a 2-week injury and you got 4 weeks before the opener. Now, I think the Jets are going to be very cautious. That's the way that it was described to me by team sources. They're going to take their time. So while he could be back in 2 weeks, I bet you they keep him on ice until 3 weeks and then give him a week to practice before the game. But soft tissue injuries, groin issues, same as hamstring injuries, I mean, they tend to linger a little bit. So will we see a 100% Breece Hall the first couple weeks of the season? I don't know, but I do expect him to be out there in the opener, yeah.
From what you've seen from the Jets and, of course, covering their first preseason game on Friday, what have you made of this team so far? What has really stood out to you?
I assumed going into the season, and I still don't think they're going to be good, but I thought the defense was going to be a disaster. I did. I thought they were going to have a lot of issues. I looked at it and I said, the cornerbacking situation is a problem. Safety is a problem. Love DeMario Davis, but I worry about his age and I worry about Jamin Sherwood next to him. David Bailey looks like a star already, undeniably the Jets' best pass rusher, but who do they have rushing the quarterback outside of him, considering it really has not been a very good summer for Will McDonald? Then you worry about there were so many questions. I thought the offense was going to be fun. The defense was going to have some problems. After watching the summer, those joint practices with the Bucs, I think the defense is going to be feisty. I still don't think they're going to be good. I don't think they're going to be great. I don't think they're going to be a top 15, top 10 unit. But I think they're going to be feisty, and I think they're going to fight, and I think they're going to claw, and I think they're going to embrace playing ugly, and they're just never going to go away. They're going to be like that little dog that just nips at your heels and annoys the hell out of you for 18 weeks. I think that's what you're going to get from the Jets defense. Offensively, they're going to go, and this sounds like such a broken record, Jake, but they are going to go as far as the quarterback takes them. And with Geno Smith right now, I saw a good practice early on, my first day or two with the Jets after a week in West Virginia. It hasn't looked good since. It's the turnovers, the skittishness in the pocket, the aggressiveness that we all have been talking about. Like, oh, Geno's going to stretch the ball down the field. He's going to attack. He's going to attack. He's going to attack. He seemed more passive and timid to throw the ball down the field, especially in those joint workouts with the Bucs. And then what we've seen from him since. So it's just, I'm worried more now about the offense than I was before because of Geno. And I don't trust what they have behind him. I think Cade's a good developmental project. I don't think he's ready to play meaningful snaps on Sundays yet. I just don't see that from him yet. So, again, maybe this is an ankle issue and Geno's going to shake it off and then be fine. But that quarterback spot, if he's going to go the Russell Wilson route like he did when he got to the Bucs, or not the Buccaneers, I'm sorry, the Broncos and then the Giants, where he's timid, Steelers too. He's timid. He doesn't really want to stretch the ball down the field, terrified of throwing interceptions, so it's a lot of dinking and dunking. I think that could prove troublesome for the Giants. They need the Geno that's going to play the effort ball, that sees a 50-50 opportunity out there with AD or Garrett or Omar Cooper or Isaiah and says, you know what, forget it. That's 70-30 in favor of mine. I'm taking the odds and I'm taking a shot. They need that quarterback, not one that's going to be timid. And I haven't seen that from Geno yet. So I'm a little more nervous about the offense than I was, but I also feel better about the defense than I did.
Connor Hughes is our guest, talking all things Jets and Giants with the SNY New York Football Insider. You bring up Geno. I think so much of it is not just him, it's also Frank Reich. From what you've heard from players and just talking with people about Frank Reich, does he have a 2015 Chan Gailey type of year left in him? Because if the Jets are going to surprise, they need both Geno and Frank Reich to be able to put together a successful offense here.
Yeah, I mean, historically, you look at what Frank's done the last, several years that he's been the play caller, whether that was his final couple years in Indianapolis, then what happened in Carolina, and then even in Stanford. Like, it hasn't been great, but I think what the players love about him, and this is a little bit more than what they had with Mike LaFleur, and certainly more than what they had with Nathaniel Hackett and Todd Downing, is that this offense and this scheme is very player collaborative. So he's asking Garrett what he likes to do and then designing things around Garrett and what he likes to do. He's asking AD the same questions, Isaiah the same questions, Omar the same questions. It's a very player-friendly scheme in terms of what he's asking. And that makes sense. I mean, Frank was a former player. He's done this for a very long time. He's got some talent. So he's got a good football mind is what I mean by saying that. So I think this is going to be one of the more functional offenses at baseline than what we've seen from the Jets in recent years because of Frank's collaborative approach with the players. And then also, Jake, I mean, the players that the Jets have this year, and this even goes back to the years they had Aaron Rodgers, I think there is more talent on this field from the offensive perspective than you've seen from the Jets maybe since 2015. And I understand there's questions, which is an irony because to start that season, Geno was also the quarterback. But in 2015, you had Brandon, you had Eric, you had Chris Ivory, you had a lot of weapons there that you could work with. If I'm not mistaken, Curley was also there in 2015, and then you kind of saw Chris Owusu develop, Quincy Enunwa develop a little bit later on in that tenure as well to become another receiving option for this team. Is that just physical beast athlete in the receiving unit? You had a lot there. You can make those comparisons now because you've got the two wide receivers in Garrett and AD and Cooper developing as well. You have a bunch of tight ends, whether it's Mason, Rucker, who they like a lot, Kenyon Sadiq as that versatile weapon, a three-headed rushing attack, and probably the best offensive line cumulatively that the Jets have had since 2015. So there's a lot of pieces in place here to have some fun on offense. And look, I still don't see the Jets winning more than 5 or 6 games this season. That's probably what their ceiling is, maybe 7, but I think that's probably stretching it. But I think you're going to see an offense that puts up some points as opposed to in recent years where it's just been like, oh, the offense is back on the field. Roll your eyes, go to the bathroom, grab another beer from the fridge.
So what you just described, I think is a scenario where this head coach is getting fired because I don't look at this team and go, they're bereft of talent. This is one of the worst teams in the NFL. They win 5 games after they won 3 last year, have 8 wins through 2 years. I don't know how Woody Johnson is going to look this fan base in the face and retain this head coach. So, in your opinion, what's the path for Aaron Glenn actually getting a 3rd season with Darren Mougey as the GM?
5 wins, 4 wins, 3 wins, and less. I mean, that's tough to justify a return. Five wins is tough. I could see it at 6, depending on how that 6 looks and how the season ends. I could see it at 6. If they get to 7, absolutely he's coming back. I mean, if you can get to 7 with all those draft picks that are coming, guys develop. You see it with Cooper. You see it with Garrett being happy. Sadiq looks like a player. David Bailey takes off. The defense, which Aaron Glenn is now calling, takes a legitimate step from the disaster that it was a season ago. I think that's when you can justify it. I mean, 6 wins, depending on how the 6 looks. 7 absolutely is coming back. 5, it's going to be tough. 5 is a tough one. Is a tough one to come back from.
I think it's how it looks too, right? Because not all 7-win seasons are the same. Gase won 7 his first year. Who cares? He started 1-7. What if their 7th win is the Bills in Week 18, resting all their starters? So I think getting off to a good start, and you know this, it's imperative. Their first 4 games, they're on the road in 3 of them. They're going to be huge underdogs in 3 of those 4. They
got to keep games close. Yeah. They can't be getting their teeth kicked in. That's the big thing, dude. Like you said, how they look. If they win 6 games, but in all the games they lose, they're just, down by 20 and 30, and say it's a blowout in the first 3 quarters and somehow they fight their way back to make it semi-respectable. That's not good. You need to be competing and competitive and grinding it out weeks 1 through 18. You need to just be the thorn in everybody's side. Now, the Giants made the playoffs this year, the year I'm about to discuss, but that first year with Brian Dable, that roster was dreadful, dude. That year they made the playoffs and then beat the Vikings, who were such a fraud team that year. That was the easiest bet in the world, was to say the Giants are going to win that playoff game. But that year that they won, the Giants had a terrible football team. They didn't have weapons. They didn't have a real good defense. But what they did was they embraced playing ugly. They were going to drag you into the deep end and see if you could swim. Now, that season, I have never seen a football team get as many bounces go their way as the Giants did that year. I mean, they got every single break, and kudos to them. They made the playoffs as a result, but they got every single break early in that season. That style of play, though, that they played that year with Dable and Wink and just, you know what, guys, we know every game we're going to be at the Madden overall talent disadvantage. Doesn't matter. We're just going to play dirty. I think that's how they have to go about this.
Last one for me, just looking at the big picture for this Jets team. They have the 3 first-round picks. They have the cap space. I saw a story on ESPN today where Darren Mougey was ranked as the 11th best general manager in the sport already, so just outside the top 10. Should Jet fans truly believe, maybe we don't have the coach, but we have the right GM to hopefully put this team together, maybe hire a coach, and obviously draft a quarterback next year?
Look, if you can feel very confident, not based off potential, but off of what you actually see on the field, off of his first draft class. Not off potential, what you actually see with your eyes off of his first draft class. And then you see it with David Bailey, who he took over Arvell Reese. That wasn't a slam dunk, no doubt pick number 2. There was a debate there amongst everybody. Should they take Reese or Bailey? Should they have Reese or Bailey? If Bailey looks like a stud and he made the right decision there, and the rest, Cooper develops and takes off, and Sadiq looks like a legitimate playmaker. If you start to see that, then yes, I think you can believe in it. The thing that I keep, and I love Darren, I have a really good relationship with him, but when you just analyze what he has done to this point, if you want to be glass half empty as opposed to glass half full, because that approach you're taking, that's glass half full. So I'll just play devil's advocate. I like Darren a lot. I think he's a great dude, and I believe in him. I genuinely do. I feel as confident with him as I felt in any general manager recently. But if you want to take the glass half empty approach to this, just playing devil's advocate, it's that everything he's done to this point he's accumulated a ton of draft capital. He's made a nice, whether it's Phillips or the little moves that he's made on the side to fill lower level roster. That's good. That's fine. Great. I love it. But they haven't been difference making moves. And even all those moves he made last year to grab in little guys who you kind of believe in, they still only won 3 games. So it was still a terrible football team. Everything he's done was, he got a ton of draft picks for Sauce Gardner, but you still traded Sauce Gardner. You got a ton of draft picks for Quinnen Williams. You still traded Quinnen Williams. You now need to replace those players and show that all of the assets you acquired, you can now use to round out and make a better football team. I think you can have a pretty good feeling based off of the potential of this draft class and also now what you're legitimately 100% seeing from the class before to say to yourself, okay, yeah, we've got the right guy. Right now, again, I think it's still banking on upside and what you believe, not totally what you know yet. I think at the end of this year, depending on how those 2 things plan out, that's when you'll turn around and be like, yeah, I feel pretty good about it.
The Jake Asman Show is brought to you by PrizePicks. Check out PrizePicks right now. If you're a sports fan, they have something for everyone, especially if you're one of my listeners and you're gearing up for the upcoming Jets season. For player picks on PrizePicks, you just pick a player you like and you go more or less on a few of their stats. Check out some of the numbers they have for some of your favorite Jet players: Geno Smith, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Omar Cooper Jr., Kenyon Sadiq, and many more. PrizePicks should be your go-to, and check out their new offer right now. Play your first $5 and get $150 in lineups if you win. All you need to do is sign up and use that code HMA. That's PrizePicks code HMA. Download the app now or click the link in the description to download the PrizePicks app today. Totally agree. Connor, always appreciate your time. Thanks so much for popping on with us.
No problem, dude. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it. I'm off to Giants camp here, so we're
enjoy
a little drive up there.
Love
let's go. Yeah, pads. Let's do it.